Hello everyone, this is August Regents 2017. This is the Math Geometry Regents. This is number 12. It says in the diagram below, now this symbol means line segment PA is tangent, so that's important. It's tangent to circle T, which means T is the center, at A. So this line segment is tangent at A to circle T, which means T is the center. And secant, oh, that's an important word here. And again, this symbol means line segment, PBC. So look at this as a secant because it's a line segment that touches the circle in two places, is drawn where point B is on circle T. So if the distance from B to P is 3 units and the distance from B to C is 15 units, well, let's stop right there. Then we know that the whole secant is going 15 plus 3, which is 18 units. They're asking what is the length of segment PA. So I'm going to call that X. So I know from my knowledge of circles, when we deal with secants, we have to take the length of the whole secant and we're going to multiply that by the external part of the secant. And that's going to equal the length of the tangent times itself, or tangent squared. So now we're going to plug in what we have. The whole secant is 18 times the external part, which is 3, and that's going to equal our x squared. And now we're going to take our calculator, and I'm going to put in 18 times 3, and that gives me 54. So now I know that 54 is equal to x squared, and to solve for x, the opposite of squaring is square rooting. So it's the square root of 54 is equal to x. So this is multiple choice, and that's not one of my answers. So now I know that it can't be choice 3 and it can't be choice 4. So there's a 50-50 chance here. So what we need to do is we need to reduce this. And what we do is we find two numbers that multiply to 54. How about 9 times 6? One of those numbers has to be a perfect square. So in this case, 9 is the perfect square. 9 times 6 is 54. So the square root of 9 times the square root of 6 equals the square root of 54. The square root of 9 is 3. 6 does not have any perfect square factors other than 1. So our final answer is 3 times the square root of 6. Now, if you're on the Regents and you're not quite sure how to do that, another way you can do this is by putting in the square root of 54 and getting a decimal value. And then one of these has to be the answer. So then we just put in the first answer, 3 square root of 5. Notice it does not have the same value. When we put in 3 times the square root of 6, notice that has the same value as the square root of 54. So that's how we know that the square root of 54 and 3 times the square root of 6 have the same value, they just look a little bit different.